Hey, I'm Stephanie Rubis. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking about how to cut costs when you are sewing. So I've had a few comments come through social media lately where people are talking about that it's really quite expensive to sew your own wardrobe, and that there's this idea that it should be cheaper to make your own clothes than it is to buy them, but that's not really the case. And so I thought we should maybe address that and talk about some solutions to help you keep your costs down. Now, yes, it can absolutely cost more to sew a garment for yourself than it can to buy it. Now, some of the factors at play here are, one, a lot of our clothing is made in really unsustainable ways with unfair work practices, and we benefit from those with really cheap garments. Those garments are not just cheap in cost, a lot of the times they're cheap in quality. And the same can also be said for fabrics. Some fabric is made in really unsustainable ways with unfair work practices, and that's why that fabric is so cheap. And so yeah, if you are wanting a really good quality garment that is tailored well for you, that is really great quality fabric that's gonna last you a really long time and be able to go through, 100 or more washes, yeah, that garment is gonna cost more than the cheaply made, cheap fabric. Like, the garments that are meant to be thrown away after a season, they're gonna cost more than that garment. Now, if you are comparing that well-made garment out of quality fabric that's tailored right for you, if you're comparing that garment to a high-quality garment with high-quality fabric in ready-to-wear, you actually might save some money. It really comes down to what exactly are you comparing here. If you're comparing cheap everything with good quality everything, well, yeah, good quality is always going to cost more money. But here's the thing, okay? I have realized in starting to sew my own wardrobe that I did not need even a fraction of the amount of garments that I had in my wardrobe. I live in Alberta, Canada. We have all of the weather here, okay? We don't get as like sticky muggy as the tropics. But other than that, like we've got really cold to really hot, we've got really wet to really dry, we've got snow, we've got rain, we have all of the things, okay? I need a wardrobe for everything. And still, even with accommodating all the seasons that I have to accommodate, I still don't need near as many garments in my wardrobe as I once had. But that said, let's see how we can save money with the garments that we still do want to sew. Okay, number one, and I'm gonna say this with a caveat, okay? Caveat? I don't know. There's a disclaimer to this one. Number one is tell everybody you're sewing. Put it on social media. Let your friends know, let your family know, because I guarantee you there's a bunch of people in your circle that have like grandma's fabric stash sitting in their basement in a big Rubbermaid tote that they have no idea what to do with, and they just don't. They'll give it to you. People will come out of the woodwork from everywhere. Hey, I heard you're sewing now. Here's like 18 pounds of fabric for you. Okay, but do not do this unless you are okay with saying no to people, because people are gonna try and also give you stuff that you really don't want. Like, maybe somebody has somebody's fabric stash who like only did quilting, and you're not gonna do quilting and you don't wanna make stuff out of quilting cotton. Or maybe they, it's a fabric stash from that time they redid all of their own drapes in their house. Like, not everything's gonna be practical for you. So only put this out to the world if you are gonna be comfortable with saying, oh, you know what, thank you so much, that's really thoughtful of you to think of me, but that's not the kind of fabric that I could use, so thanks anyway. It's okay to say no. Next, keep an eye on your local community selling hub, whatever that be, Kijiji, Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, whatever, because people will de-stash and put it out on those forums. They'll also do it at garage sales, so I mean, always keep an eye out for that. I find around like our neighborhood, if people are de-stashing fabric, they'll actually put that separately on their signs for their garage sale. Like, if it's an estate sale, if there's tools, and if there's fabric. Like, those are the three things that they will make note of if they're gonna have in their garage sale. Number three, check to see if there are any clothing or textile manufacturers around you that sell their remnants or dead stock. Obviously, this is not one that's going to be relevant to a lot of people, but if you are somewhere that has a textile manufacturer close to you, it could be a gold mine. Okay, I have thrift in two categories here. Number four, Thrifting for mock-up fabric. Any of your local thrift stores will have a section that is old sheets or curtains or tablecloths, bedspreads, stuff like that. This is the best thing for doing mock-ups out of. I'm not a fan. I mean, unless you're somebody who really likes to do wearable muslins, I'm not. I just want to know if the thing fits and then I can sew it out of my good fabric. And I often end up using old sheets. My husband has a habit of like running marathons in his sleep, so we end up having a lot of sheets with holes in the bottom of them, so that's what works for me. Number 5, which is thrift category B, and that is shopping to refashion. There are a lot of lightly used garments that sometimes they just need a little bit of updating or something to make them fit you better. And doing that is actually a fantastic way to sort of transition into sewing wardrobe if you haven't sewn a lot of wardrobe yet, because when you're pulling things apart and putting them back together, you're getting really, really comfortable with how things are structured and how things go together. This one also has like a little asterisk beside it, and that is, please, if you are gonna refashion, don't go and buy something like 8 sizes bigger than you, like into the plus size range if you're not plus size, because there are plus size people who genuinely need to go to thrift stores to find their clothes, and since refashioning has become a thing, it's really hard for plus size people to find clothes at the thrift store. And maybe it seems like a weird thing to add to this video, but the thing is that the people who are buying plus size clothes in order to refashion them, they already have more choice in the store. They already have more sizes. They're already represented. So it's kind of unfair if you're plus size and it's like the people who aren't went and stole all your clothes that you could shop for. It sucks. Number 6, refashion from your own wardrobe. How many of us right now have ready-to-wear clothes sitting in their closet that kind of almost mostly fit and you thought, well, it's good enough, and you put it in your closet, but then you never went back and wore it because, truth be told, it didn't quite fit you well enough, or the style just wasn't quite right for you. You can go back and fix those things. Number 6, upcycle clothing for your kid. If you've got a pair of pants to get rid of and you can't refashion them to anything for yourself, they can be made smaller. You can even totally cut a new garment depending on the size difference between you and your little ones. If you have little ones, you can recut a whole new garment from your old wardrobe. Number 7, reuse old notions. So if you have a garment that has just had its day, it is done, it needs to be tossed, it's gonna be put into the rag bag out in the garage, pull the zipper out of it, pull the elastic out of the waistband, grab any chunks that you could potentially use for patches and pre-cut them and set them aside. Pull out any buttons that you want to use, and if it's a purse or a bag, grab all that hardware because it can always come in handy down the way. Number 8, search for free patterns online. Now, a lot of independent pattern companies will offer you a free pattern on their website. You often have to like exchange your email address and agree to receive emails from them in order to get the free pattern. There are a lot of other free patterns out there where like the free pattern only comes in one size. So sometimes those are less helpful, but I find like the indie pattern companies will offer you the full pattern in its full size range. In fact, my t-shirt pattern that I do all of my t-shirt hacks off of, that I've been adding to that playlist for like probably over a year now, that was a free pattern from Green Style Creations. And I just signed up for their mailing list and I got the pattern for free. And that brings us right into number 9, that is learning how to hack your patterns. So that same free t-shirt pattern, I don't even know how many hacks at this point I think I've got up on my channel for. It's probably like 5. And so that's 5 different patterns I've gotten out of that one free pattern. And the free pattern came with a short sleeve and a long sleeve and 2 different neck options as it was. Maybe I've got 6. I can't remember. Anyway, it's a lot. So I've been able to take that free pattern and hack it into a bunch of different shirts. So those are all shirts that I didn't have to purchase a pattern for. Number 10, check your local library for pattern books. I was actually able to find a dress book by Gertie, who is the creator of Charm Patterns, at my local library, and you can just lay out the patterns and trace them out like you would trace out any pattern before you cut into it. You can keep your tracings, take the library book back unharmed, and away you go, free patterns. Number 11, use your scraps. I make a lot of t-shirts and a lot of tank tops because they're my favorite, and all of that leftover fabric is fantastic for making underwear. And sometimes I'll have scraps of fabric from wovens that maybe there's not enough in it to make something for myself, but there's enough in it to make something for one of my kids. Number 12, and I already nodded to this at the beginning of the video, really consider the amount of clothing that you need. Like, how much in your wardrobe do you wear regularly? Now sure, a lot of us need professional clothes for work, and then we have clothes that we live in, and a lot of us probably have like the same sort of core group of clothes that we live in. And okay, if you need something different for work, can you work that into a capsule wardrobe? Is there a group of clothing that you could add to so that instead of having to come up with whole outfits, you have a new shirt to add to a pair of trousers that you already have? Really just take a look at, do you actually need everything that you have? And if not, can you refashion some of it? When you're sewing your wardrobe, like maybe you just don't need to make as much. Number 13, have a plan. Oh my gosh, it is so tempting to go to the fabric store, see all the pretty fabrics and think, yeah, I want that. This feels amazing. I love that color. And oh my gosh, if there's a sale, look out. It's all coming home with me. But if you don't have a plan for that fabric and you're just gonna buy it because you'll do something with it down the road, you're gonna buy too much. Because you're gonna think, oh, I don't know could I do a dress, maybe a pair of pants? If you're not gonna know, well, might as well buy 5 meters of it, right? But if you go to the fabric store, either with your pattern or you find a pattern at the fabric store, but you go with a project in mind and you only buy for that project, your stash will be smaller, but you will spend way, way less money because all of that, I can't even tell you how much fabric over the years I have bought because I loved the fabric in the store. I didn't have any idea what I wanted to do with it. I just wanted it because it's pretty. And then a few years later, I didn't care for the fabric anymore, or it wasn't in style anymore, and I just got rid of it. It was a waste. Which brings me to my next point, number 14. Know what is stash worthy. I'm not saying don't ever buy anything for your stash. We love the stash. The stash is important. I know I'm always going to be sewing t-shirts, tank tops, and underwear and bras. Those are my standards. They're my go-tos. So if I see fabric that's going to work for those, even if I don't know what t-shirt I'm going to sew or I don't know what bra I'm going to make, if it's on sale and I know it's going to work for that and I know I'm not going to get to it for a few months, I still know how much roughly I'm going to have to buy for a short sleeve versus a long sleeve t-shirt. And that is fabric that I will 100% put in my stash. And the last tip, number 15, be willing to mend. When we put so much effort into making really great quality garments out of good quality materials for ourselves and we spend the time, it really should make things harder to just throw away when they start wearing out or if they get a snag or something. It's really easy when you bought a t-shirt for $5 on sale somewhere, once it gets a stain in it or it gets a little, maybe some stitches pop or something, it's easy to be like, oh, whatever, it was only $5, toss it. But if you make clothes yourself and you take the time and the care to mend them when things go awry, that garment's gonna last so much longer. You're not gonna have to make another one for a long time, and you're not gonna have to spend money on the fabric for it for a long time. These tips absolutely work for me, and I am somebody who really does my best to buy really good quality fabric that is made in closed loop manufacturing systems so that all of the chemicals and water are being recaptured. I try and buy organic cotton and hemps whenever I can. I really try and be conscientious when I buy my fabric. And so even though I am spending more money on fabric, keeping these tips in mind has kept me overall still spending far less sewing my own wardrobe than I ever spent buying cheap clothes. I hope that if cost is something that has been keeping you back from sewing your own wardrobe, that it won't anymore. I hope that we've kind of solved that problem for you today. That's all I got for you this week. I'll see you next time.